Welcome to She Shaves with your host, Jill. Ding, 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 ding. You got it right. I'm Jill. So tonight, I'm taking a journey. I'm taking a journey back to the roots of my re-entry into traditional wet shaving. And I want you to come along on my journey. So come on, guys, join me. Let's go. Let's go back to my Kunta Kinte shave with my first setup. So I love eBay because I love to shop. And my first little razor was a kit, and it's the Nanji. It's a nice little hard case, which I thought was pretty cool. And inside the case is the razor itself, has a little mirror, and it has a little brush for cleaning it out. And it came with blades. And the blade in it, this is a twist to open razor. Not very good quality, but the blade that's in it is called a Cloud. So that's what I'm going to be starting tonight's shave for my back to my roots Kunta Kinte shave. Now, at the time, I was using cartridge razors, and yes, I used canned goo. Now, this particular canned goo is pretty good. It's pure silk, and it's got some really nice ingredients in it. It's got stearic acid, it's got aloe in it, it's got vitamin E, it has lanolin, it has chamomile flower extract, it has Irish moss in it. So it's pretty good, and it's got fragrance in it too. So that's how I started. Now, I knew nothing about pre-shave back then because I used to usually shave my legs and whatever in the shower, and I would use the canned goo, so I would just wet my face. So let me do that. And that's pretty much all the prepping I did back then. So let's shake this canned goo up really good. Whoa, there we go. It really does smell good. And it's not, it's got a different type of lather compared to like Gillette and those other ones. It's closer to what we think of as our traditional wet shaving lather. Okay. So I've got that working in. Let me rinse my right hand because, let me get this off my glasses. Let's try again. Rinse my right hand because I'm going to use my left hand to reapply. So let's get the razor warm and start. Now this particular razor, I don't know if you can see that, but that blade gap is pretty big. That's got a pretty big blade gap in it. So, whoa, this is not smooth feeling. And the proverbial 30-degree angle. This is not comfortable. The only saving grace, I believe, is this lather. And these are my trouble spots here, my whole chin area from hormone. So I have some dark coarse hairs along here. I could feel it cutting. It's a little tuggy. Especially up here in this area. Not comfortable at all. I would say this experience is tuggy. That's the best word I can use to describe it. Let me get a little bit more water on my face. Reapply some of the lather. Try this again, because that's not smooth at all. Okay, let me rinse my hand off and we'll do a feel around. Not very close in my trouble areas here. And I didn't know anything about what a 3-pass shave was, so I would traditionally, when I shaved like this with that razor and blade, would go over the area again. But I'm going to ditch the Nanji razor and the foam for now, because I want a comfortable shave. I want one that's going to be comfortable, and I want one that's going to be close. So my next journey into traditional wet shaving is YouTube. Hello, YouTube. A lot of us do that. So I looked up in the search engine beginning shave kits. And what I came up to was the Van der Hagen Luxury Shave Kit. And in that kit came a really nice ceramic apothecary, and it's really, really nice and heavy. Came with that, and it came with a brush, a Van der Hagen brush. I've already started to pre-lather this. Now, let me give you a little background on this little brush here. When I went to break in the brush, again, from YouTube, I saw how to do it, and it said to lather it up, do a palm lather, and leave the soap on it and let it sit for 24 hours. So that's what I did. And then I saw other ones that has it break it, because that's a badger brush. That's a natural hair brush as opposed to a synthetic. And to break it in further, I used the 3-day refrigerator method, which was you put water in a cup and put the brush in there and put it in the fridge for 24 hours. Take it out, do a 10-minute rub out on a towel, and then put in clean water, put in the brush, and stick it back in the fridge for 2 more cycles of 24 hours, doing the same thing. So that's what I did. Now, the first problem I had is when I first did the palm lather, to let it sit for 24 hours, the knot came out. So I was just using the knot without a handle to do the palm lather, and then letting it sit, and the same thing for the fridge method. So again, back to YouTube, and with suggestions on how to reset the brush in the handle. And so I got the correct epoxy and whatever. And long story short, 2 more times the knot has fallen out. And then last night I went to use it, and the knot fell out again. So that was the 4th time. So it was back to YouTube, and I watched Ken Surfs, him resetting setting up one of his, I think it was an Everready shave brush, and putting a new knot in it and what to do. Now, that particular brush is very lightweight, and it's hollow, and it had no ledge for the bottom of the knot to sit on to adhere to. All it had was the edge, the edges. So I only had like that much space to glue it. So obviously it's going to keep falling out. So this time I followed Ken Surf's suggestion, and I put a whole bunch of I put some of the epoxy in the hollow handle, and then I started adding pennies. And I think I ended up adding 19. So I would add a few, put more epoxy in, add a few more pennies, put more epoxy in, you know, etc., until the epoxy was all the way up to the top. I went through my tool chest and I found this rubber, I don't even know what you would call it, but it was perfect for to make a base for the handle. And I used my Dremel tool and I, you know, drilled whatever I had to make it fit into the hole of the handle. And then I set the knot in it. So now I have one of the heaviest brushes compared to my other, 14 or so brushes. It's the heaviest handled brush that I have. And the other thing that came with it was a stand. And did I talk about what was in the soap? It came with a soap. And the soap is very nice. And I'm down to the very last bit. Now, this is like 11 months old. Off and on, I use it. And I'm down to the very last bit of it. But it's a nice little soap. It's got mango. It's got glycerin in it. And it's not too bad. It's not too shabby. So that's what I'm going to be using. And I ditched that razor, so you're going to ask yourself, well, what razor did you go to? Well, it was back to YouTube, and the consensus was that the Edwin Jagger DE89 was good, or the Mercure 34C was very good. So I got both of them, and that's what I'm going to be using tonight is the Edwin Jagger DE89, and mine happens to be the L, which stands for line. So it's got better grip on it than some other ones did. And in this, I am using the blade that came with it, which was a Derby Extra. This is the, this was the blade that I used, was the Derby Extra. So that's the blade that's in that. Now, since the time I used that first razor in the canned goop, I learned more about prepping your face better. So a lot of you know how I do it. I just take my wash rag, I put the hottest water I can stand, and I lay the rag over my, you know, places that I'm going to shave, and then let it go cold, and then reapply it with hot water until I've done that for about 3 minutes. So I'm going to just re-wet my face. And the other thing that I learned was about a pre-shave. Now, I use Neutrogena Glycerin Facial Bar. I've used it for years, but it's a very good pre-shave. So I'm going to use that as a pre-shave. Now, I wash my face with Noxzema, too. There's a lot of good uses for Noxzema. You can even shave with Noxzema. But I wash my face with Noxzema, and then I'm using this as the pre-shave. So let's rub that in. Okay, rinse off the hands, and let's dip into my Van der Hagen. Now, I like a rather wet lather, so that's what I've whipped up here. And you can see I've got quite a bit of a load on there. It's very, very wet, though. Very wet. Very wet lather is extremely good for shavette and straight razors, because it glides more. And this is going to be messy. It's going to fly all over the place, as you can see. It's going to take some time to work this in. but it's glistening. You can see how it's glistening. So this is going to have a lot of glide and residual slickness to it, I'm hoping. So guys, I want to find out, I want you to interact with me on my channel in any video that I make. What did you start out with? What were your results? What did you still use canned goo when you went back to wet shaving? What products did you use? How did you find them? Any information that you want to share with me will be great, because I want to find out more information about my viewers so that I can direct future videos to you guys. That's what I'm trying to do here. So I have enough lather there for an army. And let's grab this Edwin Jagger. And let's get shaving for the second pass. I'm going to go what you guys call across the growth. Much more comfortable immediately. Much more comfortable immediately. I can tell you that. Now, this is my humble opinion. I would skip getting anything like that razor I first used. Don't waste your money. I mean, I know there's Wishi's and some, I forget the other brands and stuff that people have used, and it worked okay for them as an entry razor. But in my opinion, I believe jumping to a Edwin Jagger or the Mercure would be a better spending of your money. Because if you started out with a non-quality razor and blades, it could conceivably turn you off to even continuing on your own journey in DE wet shaving. Plenty of residual slickness. And of course, what I mean by that is if you can put water on it and shave without any irritation, that's what we're calling residual slickness. So let's put that down. Let's rinse off. Let's have a feel around. Okay. That's a lot closer. I'm near a BBS already. I just need to do some touch-ups, which for me, you know, I don't really do touch-ups. I lather my whole face and I end up shaving it. But these are the areas that I need to touch up on. My problem areas right here. So let's re-lather. Now, after I get done here, I'm going to be taking my bath and pampering myself, and I'm going to be using these same products for that, because God knows I have plenty of that lather left. I shave my legs, I shave my arms and pits, and my bikini line, and my arms. So there are some superior quality soaps that I can lather up and not even have to go back to the puck. But most times, for, you know, one side or the other, I have to go back to the puck because I got a lot of real estate to cover compared to just my face. Okay. So that's plenty of slick lather there for me, for those troubled areas, and let's do it. Let's continue this journey. I am going to go with the grain because my hairs grow like that on my chin, and they go down too. I mean, they're all over the place, but I'm going to start with the hair growth. And keep buffing until it's hit the I have enough slickness in this soap and protection to go against the grain on my lip. Which is a sensitive area for anyone, male or female. Blew a bubble. Okay, let's get to the other side. Feel around. I have more trouble on this side. Let me use my left hand. Oop. And now I'm going to go across the grain. Grab a little bit more soap. There we go. Okay. Let me pull out some of that soap. Plenty of lather. But I got to put that back in my thing for my shave for my legs. In an upcoming episode, I'll tell you about right now, I've been on a spending moratorium, a no spending moratorium, but I'm going to justify having got this new razor that I am going to review by saying that I was on a wait list for several months. So you may be able to guess which razor I'm talking about. Because they only make like 500 to 1,000 at a time, and then they send you a notification when the next batch is available. So I'm justifying the purchase of that because I was on the wait list for quite some time. Okay, let's do a feel around. Oh. This is my harder one. I like to buff, so and let's use the Gillette slide. And a little against the grain here. Okay, everybody, that particular shave is a wrap. So let me rinse off and I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Do not change that channel, okay? I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves. You can be commenting to honor my request to tell me about what started you on DE shaving, the equipment that you used, and all that stuff. What razor blade did you finally found that worked really well? Are you a hobbyist now? Are you addicted to buying new products, new razors, new soaps? You know, talk to me. and tell me about your journey. Okay, that was my warm rinse. Let me get rid of the hot water in the sink, and I'm going to do a cold water rinse. I'll be right back. Now, I don't usually use it unless I have some injuries to my face, but a lot of people do use it. And this time I am going to use an alum stick, and I'm down to the very end of it. I have more in stock, but waste not, want not. But from that first pass with that yucky razor, I want to get feedback from that. Oh my God. I'll tell you, I'm getting feedback on my lip and even my cheeks. I don't do too much on the neck, but I am definitely getting more feedback with this alum than I would on a quotes-unquote normal, back to the Kinte roots. And always make sure that you dry your alum stick off, or whatever alum product you're using, so it doesn't disintegrate. And let it dry out in the open air. Put that down. So let me clean up here for a second while I wait for this alum to dry. I like making a mess in my sink. Besides, that way it cleans it up and everything. So, did I mention that I soaked my brush for a good, it had to be 20 minutes this time, my Badger brush, and I used distilled water. I kept calling it mineral water in all my other videos, but it's distilled water because I have hard Florida water, and distilled water is very good for lathering up. So let me rinse off this alum. Alum does not taste good, I guarantee you. It's like licking a salt lick. Okay, reset my nose stud. Guys have to clean off their ears, and I do too, behind the ears, but I have an added thing because I have earrings. So I have to try my best to get as much as off of that. Off my freckly ginger German Irish Scot skin. Okay, the next step for my post shave is Thayer's Witch Hazel. This particular one is lavender. When I first started out, I used the regular aloe, but since then I bought other flavors. I use the rose a lot, the lavender. I have other witch hazels, but I prefer Thayer's because it doesn't have the highest percentage of witch hazel in it compared to some of the other ones. But those are astringents. This isn't technically an astringent because this is alcohol-free. And the ingredient list on like T.N. Dickinson and some of the other ones have a high alcohol count, and it also has a high witch hazel count in the ingredients, but I prefer the Thayer's. But doesn't matter, whatever witch hazel, use it because it's got great properties in it for your skin. I use it every time I shave, without question, every time. It's not completely dry, but I am going to go on to the next step of my post shave. Now, I didn't do any of this when I shaved the first time with that other setup, but this aftershave, Pinot Clubman, Pinot fellas, not Pinot, Pinot Clubman was the very first aftershave I ever used, and I got it from Sally's Beauty Store. I was in there buying something else, and I saw it, and I had heard about it, and it's got a kick to it. I'll tell you, this has got one of the highest burn rates of most of my aftershaves, but I like it. I like it. It's doing the job. It's a nice, fresh barbershop type scent. So that is the second part of my post-shave. And the third part is going to be what I first started out with too, and I didn't bring it in the room. Let me go grab it. Hold on, it's right around the corner. Okay, and that would be Nivea Aftershave Balm. Now this particular one is Sensitive Cooling Post Shave Balm, but I used the regular before, but that's long gone. This is like my third bottle of Nivea, and this particular one is the Cool. So shake that up, and it doesn't take much. This is a little bit more runny than other post-shave balms. So about that much will do it. Emulsify it. And this is going to have a nice little menthol cooling kick to it. So, if you're viewing this and you're not already subscribed, might you consider subscribing? And if you like the video, might you consider giving me a thumbs up? And if you've done those two things already, go to the little dingy-dongy next to the subscription button, and that will let you know when I have my next video posted, so you won't miss any of my videos. So I'm glad you came along with me on my journey back to my roots of my re-entry into traditional wet shaving, what I called my Kunta Kinte roots shave, and the progress I made just after that. And I want to thank you for joining, and I look forward to seeing your comments. Please participate in the comments down below and let me know what your journey started, how you started your journey. So with that, I am going to say adieu, and I'm heading over there to the bathtub, and I'm going to do my leg shave. So have a great evening. You got the weekend coming up, so have a great weekend too. And I'll see you back here on She Shaves with your host, Jill. Good night, everybody. Love you.